Welcome to Don't Quote Me, a podcast brought to you by Marshfield Insurance, where we shine a spotlight on businesses that drive our local economy, the events that bring us together, and the incredible people behind it all. Whether you're a lifelong local, a new neighbor, or just curious about what makes our area special, you're in the right place. From Main Street shops to hidden gems, county fairs to community fundraisers, and the friends and supporters who make it all happen, we're here to tell the stories that matter. So grab a coffee, settle in, and let's celebrate Central Wisconsin, one conversation at a time. Welcome back to the Don't Quote Me podcast, brought to you by Marshfield Insurance. My name is Nick Arnoldy. I'm here with Ken Heiman and Joe Konieczny. We're going to find out today how a 52,000 square foot gymnasium Fieldhouse was built and attached to Columbus Catholic schools. But before we do that, just in case anyone's viewing or listening that doesn't know Ken or Joe, and most of the Marshfield community does know you guys, just a quick bio for both of you. Ken, I'm going to start with you. You are one of the owners of Nasonville Dairy and Weber Farm since the 80s. You're a master cheesemaker of cheddar, feta, Asiago, and Monterey Jack. Did I miss any?
Nope, those are my four.
Those are your four. And you do more cheese than just that at Nasonville. How many?
We do quite a few. Actually, we do cheddar, Colby, Monterey, Farmer's Cheese, Pizza Cheese, Queso Blanca, Queso de Fer, Seco, Parm, Romano, Asiago, Fontina, Feta Caseri, Caffelatiri, Caffla Graviera, 20 different flavors of Monterey, as well as doing Edam, Gouda, and Munster.
I was going to ask you to do that. I've seen that done before from you. That's awesome. And you take in, for those that don't know, 1.7 million pounds of milk a day.
Actually, we're at 1.8, and we will be going to 2 in about a week or so.
That's quite extensive growth since the 80s. So that equates to 200,000 pounds of cheese.
Yeah, we're at 185 right now. We will be going up to about 200,000.
So no weekends off. A lot of milk coming in.
Not
totally. You also, have 4 generations of Heimans that are working with you now. So a family business, and we've got 3rd and 4th generation there. Quite an operation that you do, and you're involved a lot in the community. We appreciate all that you do. Joe, I'll start kind of chronologically. You're a state champion basketball player back in 1996, and now a state championship coach in 2024. And just my personal opinion, probably one of the most amazing high school basketball seasons that I had the opportunity to watch, and a lot of us had the opportunity to watch, just out of the pure talent of the team, but also starting out kind of on an uphill slope with your oldest son getting injured in a car accident, but fighting through and got back on the court and led your team and his teammates to a state championship. And one of the best pictures I think I've ever seen is you and your 2 sons at that championship right after you won. It's just a great moment, I think, for the community, for you, for Columbus basketball. And you're a young guy yet, so we've got hopefully a couple decades left for you to keep doing that, because you do have a record of 419 and 144, which I think makes you the most winningest coach in basketball for Columbus by far. So I'm claiming that. So thank you for all that you do. You're also the athletic director, and you've been coaching for 21 years now?
This will be year 21, yes.
Okay. And I think also you're the de facto MC for Columbus. You're an incredible speaker.
I get the opportunity to talk about the school a lot, and I believe strongly in it and what happens there. So it's kind of an easy thing to do. I am by no means a professional speaker, but when you believe so strongly in something, it kind of comes naturally. So I appreciate every opportunity I get to talk about Columbus, because it's a special place.
Yeah, and that does come through when you do speak. I enjoy listening to you. If people haven't had the opportunity to maybe go to a Galleon dinner and see what Columbus is all about, Joe speaks at those, and it's very impactful. How did you get into your role as the basketball coach at Columbus? Because if I remember, you were going to school in Milwaukee for occupational therapy, and then all of a sudden I hear you're coaching basketball at Columbus, which was great. But how did you make that transition over there?
Well, I do have a degree in occupational therapy. I did my internship, they called it field work back then, at Sacred Heart Hospital in Eau Claire. And I started dating another employee there, my wife, who then ended up getting a job near Marshfield. And I ended up back at Columbus and decided at that time to go back to school for 2 years at Stevens Point to take my education courses. And realized quickly it was something I loved to do. For 20 years, I don't feel like I've had to feel like I had to go to work every day. I get to go in at 7:30 or 8, and I spend the day with some really quality young people. The experiences I've had as the coach are things money can't buy, and that's kind of how it all ended up. Is I tell people I got a degree in occupational therapy, and all I got out of it was a wife. But a pretty big part of my life, and probably the biggest part. So God has a plan. You don't always see it going forward, but looking backward, you can see what He did, and I'm grateful for Him.
Yeah, I would say it all worked out from my aspect and a lot of other people's. You're kind of born into the role, watching you do what you do. It's great to have you. Now, to talk about what we have built here that's attached to Columbus Catholic Schools, the old gym, I'll call it, is 73 years old. It's in great shape, serves its purpose, great to watch varsity games there. The atmosphere is wonderful. But you do have 18 basketball teams that use that gym, 9 volleyball teams, practices, games, tournaments, camps, band, choir, concerts, drama, Phi Ed, 6th through 12th grade. So you need some space, right? So how did this all start? Like, how did it begin? How did we get to starting the whole project of fundraising?
Oh, for 20 years we've discussed it, and as youth sports offerings have increased to what they are now, that gym, the lights would go on at 5 a.m. and they would stay on until 10 or 11 p.m. And it got to the point where our young people were spread so thin and families were spread so thin, especially those with 2 or 3, 4 children, where they never got to see each other. And our high school basketball team was practicing 5:30 a.m. just to free up space at night. More importantly for me is our school made a commitment to never have any more than 17 young people in a classroom. So if they get to 34 or 51, they'll add a classroom. And with our increasing enrollment, we got to the point where these classes are over 51 students. We have to add a 4th room. And our president, David Eaton, in one of our meetings said, 2 or 3 years, this could be a problem because we don't have the classroom space. So when we heard that, we knew now's got to be the time, because we don't want to say things like waiting list or you can't get into Columbus. So as excited as I am about the gym, when I walk down the commons area and I see the 4 new classrooms and what that means from an enrollment standpoint and from a community impact standpoint, those classrooms are special to me. So that's kind of how it started. And then 2017, Mr. Heiman and his wife Joellen were on a class reunion tour, got to know them pretty well, and what he's done for this is, I can't put it into words. I think he's a community leader. People know that when he gets behind something, number one, it's a really good cause, and number two, it's going to happen. So the way he's kind of spearheaded this project the last 8 years, we picked it up again after COVID, but for 8 years he's been working on this, and the impact he's made in our school and the community, once again, just outstanding.
Yeah, Ken, you're involved in a lot of projects, a lot of philanthropic projects in the Marshfield area. You get behind a lot. You work hard, and you also give back harder, I would say. Now, you're a graduate of Marshfield Senior High. Joellen's a graduate of Columbus. This isn't the first project you've been involved with Columbus, because that South Science Wing you helped with. So why is it important for you to give back to the schools, in particular this school?
Well, what it gets down to is the idea there's 2 things that this brought to the community. First of all, as Joe's saying, we had kids there till 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night. And if you're Christian, any kind, I don't care, Lutheran, Methodist, Presbyterian, makes no difference to me. What I'm after is the idea that we have kids there. You can't say that you believe in family time. You can't say that you believe in getting kids home for dinner. So now, when we get done with all of the things we have going on, with all of the kids we are blessed to have there, now we get them out of there at between 6 and 6:15. They'll be gone. They're done. And now, instead of when we get to the drama, we have 2 areas for that. We have the one that they have in the old gym, as well as the one we put in the new gym. So we can do a lot of things, and we can make the kids flow through there much better. And so now, instead of going in the basement of the church for dinner or whatever, or for lunch rather, they'll be able to go straight through the gymnasium, and they'll go over to the one at Columbus. And the idea is to want to keep those kids closer to you. As Joe said, there's a lot of classes now that were up, a lot of grades that were up to 4 classes per grade. And we want to keep it that way. We want to keep expanding on that. But moreover, to me, it had as much to do with the community around us. if the reason for, as Joe's talking about education, which was primary in this whole escapade, but then the second part became the gymnasium system. And what that offered to the surrounding area is phenomenal. There is nothing like this anywhere north, and the closest one to the south would be what they call Just a Game. And as far to the east, you're going to go all the way to Appleton, and then otherwise you're going to Minneapolis. So our area, the entire area, didn't get a fundamental chance to compete with that. What Joe and Lori are now offering is a whole segment of things that we can do here that will help not only the schools, helps the community, undoubtedly, and it helps the school. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I think driving by it, you can see how large it is, but the other day being at the ribbon cutting, it was 10 times more impressive walking through it, and thank you for the tour of the classrooms and everything. So I think when people get an opportunity to walk in there, they're going to be in awe of what, I mean, Joe, you said beyond your wildest dreams, and I had that moment myself. I was like, I can't believe this is a part of our school now. It's a wonderful project. Did anything change from the original vision of the gym, or did everything pretty much, this is what we want, and we were able to get what we needed?
Actually, I guess the only things that changed was originally on the original drawings when we first started, there was 3 courts. And in fact, Brother Kim was the one who said to us, you don't want to do that. He says, you want to make it just like Just a Game. You want to make sure that there was this. The biggest things about it, undoubtedly, are from our first visions of what we thought and what we should do. Might have been a little bit of an add-on, but to be perfectly honest, we came in under budget. So our budget, we were below it when we got done. Even with some of the things we added on, at first we didn't think the parking lot was going to be permanent. It was going to be a temporary parking lot. Well, that got to be foolish. Why would you do that when you could turn around for X number of thousands of dollars, make it into a permanent parking lot? Now between OLP Church and Columbus Catholic, we have 400, just about 400 and some parking spaces. And what that meant to us was we were given an option of maybe going across the street there, that Columbus owns the land across on Columbus Avenue, and we could put a parking lot over there, but you're crossing the street, you're doing a whole lot of things we didn't want to do. And so this worked out by far better. And so that's where we're at today.
So it's a $12 million project. Was this 100% community funded?
Yes, there is nothing. We got help, if we talk about public, we got help from
Wood County Board made
Wood
a
County
donation.
Board. Utility in Marshfield made a donation. But I think that would be,
The rest is private.
the rest is all private. It's all from people, and honestly, it was all from people in Marshfield.
Were there any obstacles besides funding for the project?
No, we did a few things. We had to look at where we're going and how we're going to get there. So what I meant by that is that we needed to do some things with point of beginning to make sure that our whole, what Columbus didn't have, we did not have a campus plan. All the other schools in Marshfield have a campus plan. We now have one, so that no matter what, Joe, whatever comes up, and we want to build something or we want to do something, we have that ability. So the church was good enough to take their section out, so now the school is totally on its own.
So how do you get the community to rally behind a project like this? You've been involved in a lot of them, and I think a lot of it has to do with who's the pitch coming from. I know personally that if I get a phone call from Ken and it's a project like this, it's a good idea. I don't ask too many questions. And I think that has a lot to do with it, but is there any aspect that helps get the community rally behind it?
Well, I think the necessity was, first of all, and one of the big things was it was for kids. That does do a lot. Education brings a lot to the table, but having it be about kids is a big thing. And the other part comes, put your money where your mouth is. If you're willing to put down some serious money, then you get a chance to come to the table.
Well, we appreciate your work and phone calls and all the conversations you had on this, and Joe as well. We know you guys. We see the donors on the donor wall and on the side of the building, and I'll just mention a few names because they are on the side of the building. We've got Rail, we've got Wheeler. I know Draxler Transport was involved, and in some aspect we're involved. But were there any unsung heroes in this project that people might not know that stepped up?
There was one. There was a
and
couple.
Don't try and list all the donors. That's going to be hard to do. I just threw out a few
That would be
names.
impossible. But
The Webbers, Jim and
Yeah.
Sherry,
Were-
what they did for the educational portion of this, this whole project doesn't happen without them.
No question.
The Wheelers with the fitness center, the Rails with the Fieldhouse portion of it, and then our court sponsors, Ken and Joellen Heiman, Kim and Cheryl Heiman, Bill and Mona Hilgeman sponsored a court, and then Wisconsin River Orthopedics, a growing orthopedic business clinic in Wisconsin Rapids, stepped up to the table, and that list right there got this thing off the ground. And then we had so many people, from the $250,000 down to $500, and some of these people, 90, 91 years old, giving you their last 5,000. Meetings like that, just unbelievably inspiring. That everybody that contributed to this was necessary, and we talk about that from like a basketball team standpoint. Everybody's got to be on board, and I feel like the entire Marshfield community was on board, and now we have a responsibility to them to make sure that we give back to this community through events, through access, every way that we can, just to make sure that they know that what they put into us was well worth it.
Well, I think everybody should pay attention when they go into the gymnasium. Pay attention to those names that are on the wall, and you'll notice a lot of local businesses and local community people that donated to this. And that's important to mention, because when you're doing business in the community, they can give back to the community in that way. We also use local contractors,
Everybody.
right?
Everybody on that project was local. Outside of the fact that we had to bring the steel people to lift it up from Eau Claire, and that was about the outside as we got. And then the wood came from Wisconsin that you see on the floor, all 3/4 of an acre of hardwood in there. And anyway, they came from Wisconsin, but their physical address is Milwaukee. But everything else, whether it was gym equipment or whatever, that had to be bought on the outside. But I don't care if it was if it was House of Heating. I don't care if it was Mowers. I don't care if it was Rigo Plumbing. I don't care if it was Sternweiss Concrete. I don't care if it was Marwood. I don't care, and if it was Merkel or McMillan. Merkel worked on the other school, Macmillan. It didn't make any difference. These were all local people, and when those people were there working, it was the most amazing thing in the world, because if they needed a lift someplace, hey, yeah, just grab mine, use that. And they would just go back and forth about this, and hey, I'm going to go work on that. Yeah, that'll leave you open over here. Okay, fine. And then they did a phenomenal job. They all worked together. It was absolutely super. And Marwood I get to say a little bit more sometimes, because Marwood had an agreement with us. It was our committee that they answered to on the design. And then after that, when they started building, they only wanted to answer to one person. So I got elected. And anyway, that way the questions didn't have to go to committee, and didn't have to do this and didn't have to do that. If it came up, it was what it was.
Well, I would choose you just because you've built onto the dairy a few times. I think you know how to do that. So you're a good elected person, and again, not the first philanthropic project that you've helped with. Now, can this space be used for community events potentially as well, or is, there's some red tape nowadays, that you have to, take care of if you're going to do, things outside of maybe school-related things. But one question that I was asked was, hey, can the community use this space? I don't know.
100%. I think it's equipped to host just about anything. We've talked about Special Olympics. We've talked about the Elks Hoop Shoot. We've talked about a number of parish events. Our school has major fundraisers, Alpine Holiday. We mentioned the Galleon Dinner. I think Alpine Holiday will be in there this fall. So it's a multi-purpose facility. I think athletics gets a lot of attention, but like we talked about, the educational part of it and the community use, definitely a huge part.
So kind of a broad question here. How does this facility impact your athletic program short-term and long-term right now?
Well, short-term, it's like Mr. Heiman talked about, it's the scheduling thing. Our girls basketball coach and I sat down, and every team below high school can now practice at 5 o'clock. Every high school team can now practice at 3 o'clock, and at 6:30 we're having family dinner. So that part of it. It's going to let our families have access to a fitness center and to a gymnasium every night of the week, probably 7 to 9:30 or 7 to 10. So if you want to spend family time in a gym or in a fitness center, you can come up as a family and do that. My biggest thing is what was heartbreaking for me the last 5 or 6 years as enrollment grew. There were times a young person wanted to get into a gym or a weight room, and you got to tell them, sorry, 8 p.m., 8:30 it'll be open because our teams are using it. I really believe that now anytime one of our students wants to make themselves better educationally or athletically, they'll have access to that. And for me, that's the biggest thing is when a young person wants to work and improve, they have to have a place to go, and this will provide them so that they always have a place to go.
It's a big area. We're still hosting the varsity games and probably JV, and all the games are still in the classic gym, which, yeah.
So our varsity atmosphere, I think it's special. You know, it's full. The stands are right on the court. The pep band starts to play. And all of our alumni, and for 70 years, but in my 20, have come back and said, that's a really great environment. Do not lose that. So we have some things. We just refinished the floor in there. Hopefully the next year we'll get some bleachers and a video board. And that atmosphere is not something I wanted to lose. So we're going to keep that and improve the lower level stuff for our youth sports.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. You can have an area that's too big, and you might get it 50 more, 100 more spectators, but it looks a little, there's definitely a vibe there. Going to a few playoff games last year, standing room only sometimes, not usually, but incredible atmosphere. So for those that didn't know, varsity games still being hosted in the classic gym, and you guys have kept that up wonderfully. A new video board you're talking about potentially.
Yeah, it's something that we've discussed. We have a list of things we want to do to make sure that
Joe doesn't run short of a list.
Anything we can do for our young people, but that's something that's been discussed, and that's an opportunity for local businesses to advertise as well. And our booster club right now does an unbelievable job. We have all the banners in the gym, and to consolidate that in one place might be beneficial for us and allow more people to support our athletic program. So we've discussed a lot of things.
What's the viewing capacity in the new gym for like the tournaments? Like how many spectators can it seat in there?
Well, we have 8 sets of bleachers down the middle. Each one of those is 80 to 100 people. And then there are additional spaces where we can put in more if need be. We have 6 volleyball tournaments coming this fall. Our athletic director, Lori, is amazing. She has 16 teams at each of those tournaments, so I believe 96 teams coming to Marshfield to play volleyball this fall. These first 3 or 4 tournaments, I think we're going to learn a lot. We need a table here, we need a table there, or we need. So it's going to be kind of an adjustment period this first month. Our first tournament's about 9 days from now, so we're going to see what we need to do and make sure it's a place that everybody can fit into and have a great experience.
So as we've already mentioned, there's 4 full-size basketball courts, volleyball courts. There's batting cage. There's a fitness center, which looks incredible. Maybe I would have hit the weight room more in high school, weighing 160 pounds and being 6'2", 3. 4 classrooms. Was there or is there any newer technology that you incorporate in this building that you're excited about or others don't know exist?
Well, each classroom has a new state-of-the-art Promethean board. In the lobby, there's a 100-inch flat screen where we can kind of celebrate the history of our school, where Nick Arnold can walk in and Google his name and push Nick Arnold.
We don't want to do that.
It'll tell us
Somebody else will.
It'll tell us everything. A lot of schools have a Hall of Fame. This is going to be more of a museum where you can see the history of our school and find out more information about it.
Not that we're saying you're ancient, but we're
we passed the 25-year mark already. I don't know where the time went. Which kind of gets me into, you mentioned at the ribbon cutting, which, again, something I don't think of until Joe says something, but Father Logan used to hand out gym keys to parents, and that allowed us, in 2nd, 3rd grade, to go in the gym and shoot hoops on a weekend with mom or dad or whoever would take us in there. So we got a jump start at that time, shooting hoops at 2nd, 3rd grade. But nowadays, you start maybe at kindergarten. So how has kind of teaching basketball or coaching basketball changed from the early 90s to now we're 2025? Because I feel like they start way, way earlier now. Thankfully, we got a jump start, and maybe it contributed to some WISA championships, when we were in school. But how has that all changed now? It's much earlier.
It's much earlier. They start in 4-year-old kindergarten. We joke with our families, everybody's welcome. We're just not changing diapers. So as soon as they're out of diapers, bring them on Saturday. In the past, what we did is we would attach a mini hoop to the main hoops, and it was quite tedious, and it allowed them to shoot on an 8-foot rim. All 24 baskets in this new facility are adjustable, so you push a button, they come down to 9.5, 9, 8.5, or 8 feet. I think when you start young people that young, you can build bad habits, and hopefully that lets us teach people basketball the right way. But as far as how it's changed over 25 years, I just think the overall involvement, and everybody wants to get a jump start now, and it's important when you try to get a jump start, you do it the right way, and you're teaching the right things, not just to be competitive, but to be a good teammate and to care about something more than yourself. And I'm excited for the students that are going to have this opportunity to do that in this facility.
I was going to say, one of the things that we did with adjusting the baskets, we found that, I'll pick on ODC, challenge people and whatnot. Those tournaments that they run for them, they do adjust the baskets. They want to adjust the baskets. This gives them one of the few places in this state that they can do that. And Joe does it simply by pressing a button, and down they come. And for those tournaments, it'll be quite phenomenal. So just one thing that I knew that we, as much as teaching technique and working with the little kids that he was dribbling dons, it's fine. But I'm just saying there's other uses for this as well.
Well, there's obviously a lot of benefit to having the kids start earlier. What I get concerned with, because knowing myself, and it's not true for every kid or person that gets involved in basketball, is like we start so, and I haven't been at one of your camps, but we start so regimented earlier. Do you burn them out because it's not militant, but it's really organized, where it's like when we were getting the gym keys in OLP, it was like very relaxed, and we'd always joke we're going to go play at the Garden. I think that was a term coined by the great Ed Sheehan. But it would just be, we're just playing pickup games. But now we're starting some organized drills and whatnot in kindergarten. Are we worried about, or how do you get through that and not burn them out at an early age where they're like, no, that's not fun?
Well, it's definitely something with all youth sports now is it's got to be fun. And the second it's not fun, a 9 or 10-year-old is not going to want to do it. So when we start our young people, we have 2 rules. The first rule is to do your best, and that entails not worrying about mistakes, not worrying about mom or dad yelling at you if you miss a layup. The second rule is to have as much fun as humanly possible, and that means to enjoy the people you're with and to just have a positive attitude. And I think we've done a really good job of that. That team you mentioned 2 years ago had 9 seniors, and at a school our size, you don't see 9 seniors stick together that long. So we're doing our best to make sure that it's a beneficial experience. We want to teach things that are beneficial at 22 years old. Even if they get the opportunity to play after high school, at 22, all these young people are going to get a job. And at 22, what will they have needed to learn? And as much as I love making three-pointers and teaching kids how to dribble with their left hand, there are some qualities they have to have at 22 to be successful from 22 until the time they die. And this is kind of the whole purpose of this for me, is to make sure that they have those lifelong skills way beyond basketball.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that Joe did leave one part out when he has his camps and whatnot for the real young ones. It's a requirement that his varsity basketball team be there. They get a group of 10?
We'll usually have 10 boys and 10 girls. It's just about making sure you leave your mark. And at Columbus, you mentioned Father Logan. I mean, that guy was maybe the best human being I ever knew. Had a chance to know him for 35 years, and you think of the effort he put into the faith community in Marshfield, to Columbus High School. He left his memorial to this project. His sisters came back for the ribbon cutting.
Flew in from Denver.
From Wisconsin and from Colorado, and you feel a sense of obligation to those people that gave their lives to this place. And you got to be willing to do the same. So somebody after you takes the torch, and Columbus High School needs to be there, in my opinion, for centuries. I think what goes on there is unique. You've been there. 7:45, the whole school stops. They come together and they say a prayer. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you're Catholic, Lutheran, whatever faith you are, non-denominational. You're saying a prayer, and then they work super hard for 6 or 7 hours to make sure they get instilled in them what they need for the rest of their lives. And at 2:45, when the bell rings, every kid stops and comes together and says a prayer. And we can talk about math and science, and I think that stuff's fantastic at Columbus. But that lesson, to stop what you're doing once or twice a day and give thanks to the Lord and come together, say a prayer, that's what we're trying to do all this for.
What's unique about Columbus as opposed to a lot of other schools, I feel, when you're in there, and occasionally I get to come in and talk to the consumer ed, every teacher there knows every student. And if you come to Galleon dinner, you'll give a couple minute story on every single student. So for those that are exploring Columbus High School, I would say that the teachers and all the staff at Columbus have a vested interest in every student, and they know their family, they know exactly, everything about their almost, It is interesting to just see how much you guys do know about each and every student that walks through that hallway, and you can't get that at a very, very large school. So I would say that if people are looking at Columbus High School, that is very unique. Is there anything that you would add now with this new facility that people should consider if they're looking at Columbus High School, why it's beneficial for their student?
Well, I encourage them to tour it to see what the students have access to. One of the great parts of my job is I give these reunion tours where the classes of 25, 30, 35 years will come back and tell the stories and see what we've done, and they're very proud of it. The thing that I love that our students see when they walk into this facility is the names of the donors on the wall. And they see how much this community loves them and supports them. And I think what it teaches them is when they get to be 25, 30, 35, done with college or med school or engineering school, whatever they want to do, they're going to want to do the same thing for the next generation. So those donors, you can thank them for their financial commitment, which is the reason this happened. But I need them to realize that from a much broader perspective, they've taught the young people in this community to give back to it. And that example is something that's going to last way longer than the financial commitment. So thank you to all of them.
So what's next for Columbus Catholic Schools?
That
broad enough question for you?
We got some big plans. When this started, Ken Heiman and Marty Draxler were two guys that really got it off the ground, even when I doubted it. It started as a $6 million project, then it went to 8, then it went to 10. So you reach out to so many really gifted financial people in this community, and the response from all of them was, man, this is awesome. I hope it happens. But Joe, just so you know, it's going to be really hard to get to that number. And I'd come back to Ken and Marty, and they'd say, we're doing it. And I went home to my wife one night, and I said, these two guys are either geniuses or they're a little bit crazy, or they're crazy. And she said, well, we know Marty's both. Then you read about people who are geniuses. They do have to be a little bit crazy. Crazy enough to believe that certain things are possible if you just force yourself to do it. And what those guys have done is phenomenal.
The biggest thing that I see is something that I don't know that everybody knows. You have to remember that our school name is Columbus Catholic. You have to remember that 70% of our kids are Catholic, 28% are Lutheran, and 2% are Christian non-denominational. And that's why Joe says, twice a day, they'll stop and say a prayer. I don't care what religion you are. It doesn't bother us at all. In fact, they've always adopted that. And we continue to see our growth in other Christian religions being poured into there. And we think that we can become very adaptable to what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our goal is to get people to heaven. I always tell the families that ask, you have to be Catholic to go to Columbus. I say, well, if you go to MapQuest and you type in a destination, it's going to give you 4 or 5 routes. And you have to, as a family, choose your best route. But this is a place where you're going to love the person next to you. You're going to believe in Jesus Christ. And you're going to have every opportunity you can to better yourself in every area. So like Mr. Heiman said, we are a Catholic school. But the word Catholic means universal, which means it's for everybody. And it loves everybody. And we want to continue to build that in this community.
Columbus is a very inclusive school, and it was when I was there, was a great path for me, and I think it provides a great path for other people, and certainly explore that, especially with all the new technology and space that we have now. I had alumni questions also. We answered most of them except for one. This person wanted to remain anonymously. I won't mention their name, but they go by the moniker Oz. He says, why couldn't we pony up in the 90s?
Yeah.
Really even better.
Right.
Obviously we're all jealous of the space somewhat, but very excited for our kids and grandkids to be able to utilize that. It's incredible when you're able to walk through that. So what could the kind of last question that I have, what could the economic impact be for the city of Marshfield because of this? You mentioned the Elks tournament coming to town, which people stay at hotels, they go to the restaurants. Have we really quantified kind of more of events like that?
Actually, we had downtown Marshfield do it. And Matt went through it. Matt, can't think of his last name at the moment. Matt McLean went through it and did all the calculations on it, and it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. And what's catching us a little bit off guard maybe is that we had counted on people closer around here, and the first teams coming, a lot of them are coming from Milwaukee. They're coming from all over. I mean, they're coming much further than we anticipated. So Matt had used a number that allowed for, well, these people will eat something here, but they'll go home. And now these people are coming this distance. They aren't going home. So we expect that our growth is going to be actually very much more than we anticipated to begin with. I mean, it's yet to be seen. I have that part. But the things that Joe has worked with as far as line settings on 3-point and both for high school, college, we're working on making sure that our time clocks are in. So this new regiment of speeding up basketball to make sure that it's all on time clocks and so forth as they do in college, we're going to be able to do the same things here and do it well.
Are we getting into time clocks now in high school basketball? Is that a thing?
Well, the shot clock has been something that's been discussed. I believe 30 states have it now, so we do have these in the new facility. We have 5 sets of them that'll be installed in late October on all 4 new courts and on the old court. So we're hoping to host a shot clock tournament next summer where high school teams can come and try it and see what it is and hopefully learn what it's about, and whether we want it or don't want it, it's kind of a testing ground, and very few facilities have 5 courts with shot clocks, so this will be an opportunity for that.
That is the big thing, as Joe just said when he mentioned the 5 courts. Now there's 5 courts in one building. 5 courts takes you from a regular tournament to big tournaments, isn't it?
Yeah, we host Great Northwest tournaments. I think we did about 14 or 15 last year, in addition to 5 or 6 volleyball tournaments between fall and spring. And now you have 1 court where you can host 5 teams. So to go from 1 court to 5 courts, now you can host 20 to 30 teams in an event. You can host multi-day events and have teams play on multiple days. So and I think that's why when you talk to the community about should we do this, so many businesses got behind it. Hotels and restaurants and the people that want more people in this community were very, very excited about it. And in my opinion, some of the business people in this town are as good as you're going to find anywhere. So for them to tell you this could change a community made it even more motivating.
Well, very few people could have pulled this off. Ken and Joe, you pulled it off along with some others that helped along the way. I'm excited to see it even more when I got inside. I don't know if I mentioned that 2-3 times, but people have to get inside of this building and check it out. Whether you have a family that's in Columbus or not, or toying with the idea, tour it. Check it out. It's great for the school. It's great for the community. You guys.
I was just going to say, Joe and I did not pull our hair out because of this project.
I'm following you. I'm not too far behind. Anything else you'd like to add about this whole project that maybe we didn't get to?
I just want to say thank you to the people that supported it, whether it was financial or time commitment or prayers. I believe strongly in this community and the people in it, and for this to happen at our school our size in a town of 18,000 people, just a testament to them. And like I said, I want them to know we feel a real responsibility to make sure that this facility is used to make Marshfield a place more people come to. So thank you for assisting us in getting that word out. And I've thanked this guy a million times, but it's probably not enough for what he's done for the community and for our school. So
yeah, got a big heart, Ken. So this Fieldhouse is more than just a building. It's a reflection of what a community can achieve when people come together around a shared vision, from athletes who will train here to the students learning in the classrooms and the families who will gather for games and events. Its impact will be felt for years to come. Thank you to both of you for sharing your insights and for all the work that went into making this possible. You guys are great people. Thank you again for taking the time to be with us. Thanks for tuning in. Like and follow us on Facebook, Marshfield Insurance. Subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you do your podcasts. Thanks for joining us.